to day 3 of our 2023 Halloween countdown. There are 13 free files available in this countdown, and if you missed it, you can grab the all access bundle for it if you're still in the middle of it. If not, check out my huge Halloween bundle that has all these files and more included in it, and that is going to be linked down below. Today we are working on a popcorn wrapper. So it's a cute little box that actually will hold a packet of popcorn in it. So if you're handing out Halloween treats and you wanted to give coworkers or special people in your lives a bag of popcorn, unpopped microwave popcorn, they fit into this perfectly. You can also fit a gift card in there and or some snacks. I mean, as long as it fits in the little pocket, you're good to go. So the first thing we're going to do is upload our file, and I am going to navigate to where mine are, and we are in treat boxes, popcorn wrappers, and we are making the Coffin one today. So I'm going to find the file that says SVG. There's actually 2 of them, so I'm going to start with the second just because it's the first one in the list. And I'm going to click it and then click upload, and it's going to put it in my library. And so I'm going to upload image one more time, and I'm going to choose the first file, file 1, and click it, and then upload, and it's putting it in my library. So now the 2 of them are sitting here. I'm going to click on this so that it's got a green bounding box. Click on this one so it's got the green bounding box, and down here it shows me I have 2 files selected, and I'm going to add those to my canvas. Okay, so this one shouldn't need much prep at all. We just have a few score lines that we need to take care of. So I'm going to ungroup this because it came in as one file. I'm going to ungroup it, and then I'm going to try to find that red score line, and it's easier to find it over here than it is in this just because the background's black. So I'm going to click on the score line, and I can tell that I've got it because it's red right here, and then I'm going to click score, and then I'm going to click on the actual base for that wrapper, which is this one right here, and I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to hold my shift key, and I'm going to click on that score line, and then I'm going to attach the 2 of them. And what this does is it makes sure that when this black piece cuts out, that score line will actually be marked too. And what it did was it moved my file, or that piece, that chunk, to the front for view. So if you want to, you can send it to back. So you just go up here to arrange and tell it send to back, and it goes back where it belongs. These bright pink are pattern paper. So everything that's bright pink is going to get cut out of pattern paper. If you want multiple pieces of pattern paper, I recommend you change those colors now to something funky like yellow or something that doesn't fit the theme of your Halloween, red, whatever. I'm going to ungroup this one and do the exact same thing. I'm going to find this box, and then I'm going to find its score lines, and there are 4 on this box. So there should be 2 on each side and then 2 on the top and bottom here. And I'm going to turn those to score, and then I'm going to hold my shift key and click on the gray base, and I'm going to attach those as well. These don't have score lines. This one has one more score line right here. So I'm just going to click here so that I kind of get in somewhere in that file stack. I'm going to click on this. Where is this one hiding? Oh, it looks like there's 2. I'm going to have to delete one of those. So I will make sure that that is not in your file. So I'm going to click on this, turn it into a score line, and then I'm going to click on its background, and I'm going to click attach, and it brings it to the front. So I can either command shift and do the left bracket to send it back, or you can do arrange up here and send it to back, and it tells you the shortcut keys here. So once you've done it quite a few times, you just kind of remember which shortcut keys are which. I want this pink to be a different color because I'm going to do it in a different pattern paper. So I'm going to make this like a funky yellow, and I think I want it to match this one for the inside. So I'm going to do this in the same color so that I remember to cut those out of the same pattern paper, these out of the same pattern paper. I'm trying to remember where this one went. I think it goes in the background here. So I want it to be different as well, and I'm going to make it blue just to remind myself. And then I want this one to be a completely different pattern paper, so I'm going to make it red. Okay, and I do want this to cut out of orange just because orange and black And then all my pattern papers are going to be like kind of my Halloween colors. Okay, so that is ready. I'm going to click make it, and I will meet you back here with the pieces to put it together. All right, one thing before you send this to your mats to go ahead and cut it out. This, if you want to actually use these words the way they are, then I would highlight or select them all and then attach them. I personally, I included it here so that if you want to use it, if you want to pen it or foil it or print and then cut it, you can do that. But I'm kind of getting irritated with cutting letters out of with my Cricut unless they're really fat and really big, or unless you have a brand spanking new mat and a brand spanking new blade, because it's just too finicky, and the Cricut usually ends up ruining something, and you spend more time fiddling with it than if you actually went and found this phrase or a phrase you like and stamped it or hand wrote it or whatever. So that being said, use this if you want to. If not, use something else like stickers, stamping, handwriting, whatever you've got in your stash. Cut up a tag, okay? And okay, moving on to putting it together. All right, you should have everything cut out and ready to go. I used this Trick or Treat Happy Halloween Echo Park paper for my pattern papers. It's another pack that I've just had stashed away for years, and it needed to be used. And I'm gonna do a little bit different intro for the setting up the design space. Cricut just drives me nuts when it comes to those little fine words, and if you've got the Joy or the pens, great, you can just write it out. If you don't have a brand spanking new mat or a clean mat and a great, perfect, brand spanking new blade, little fine words are going to just be the bane of your existence, which are currently the bane of my existence. So I chose not to do the words, and I'm going to do this eat, drink, and be spooky on the front of my popcorn thing. So let's go ahead and organize our papers and the places that they go. Okay, this is the pattern paper that was cut in a strip. I'm going to put it over that orange like that. You can stay back there. He's not going to stay. It's playtime now. I'm going to use score tape for most of these kinds of things just because it's the right size. This is the thing that my label or my sticker is going to go on, and I might change that just because I'm going to use the sticker. I chose to cut the eyeballs for my skull out of a lighter blue just because I kind of wanted that contrast. There's his bones and the skull and the spider web. That all goes on the front, as well as the bat. It can either go on your sentiment or somewhere on the thing. I managed to get the dare to cut out, but I don't really want to use it, so I'm just going to toss it over there. And then instead of just straight pattern paper in the back, I'm going to do this pattern paper over the white like it was originally intended, and then I'm going to put this over it, I think, depending on where I can fit it. It might be that I put it on the front of this. It might be that I put it on the front of the whole thing in general. I'm just going to kind of play with it, but I kind of liked this one, so I thought it would be fun to put it on the Trick or Treat box. So here's this, and I just cut regular white out for the front of that, and then the edges all go in white as well. And there should be two longer edges. These are going to be the ones that go on the outside edge of your folded box. These are the inside box. So you should have one for each side here, one for the bottom, okay, and then one for each, the front and the back. And you'll notice that your file cut like a B, and it's probably kind of messy. It's not a big deal. And an F right here. Those are going to get covered by pattern paper, and you'll never see them. But those are just for your reference so that you know which one's front and which one's back. These should be identical. So it's just a matter of which one you want on the front and which one you want on the back or the inside. This one's going to get covered a little bit by that box. So I'm going to put this one on the front. Oh, and I also have this pattern paper to go on there. So those will match. I don't know if I intended that one to be bones. Yes, I did. Okay. Because that was one of those sentiment ones. So it goes like this for the inside, this for the outside. I might use this for a sentence. See, this goes right here behind that, just to kind of break it up. And so I don't know if I want to move this to the front and then put this over it so that when the belly band comes off, this is visible. That's probably how I'll do it. And then this will just go on the inside. And the belly band will have this on it with the sentiment. And I might cut that one up, or I think I can probably fit it this way. I can perfectly. So I might switch it sideways. And then once it slides off, there will be that, the little saying. And then this all goes on the front. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside, other than one of these. Set this aside for a second, and this aside. And we are going to assemble this part first. Okay. Pretty sure I fold. Yep. So you're going to fold this score line when the front is facing you and the F is right here. You're going to fold this score line backwards. Okay. And then glue this strip to that side. And it's just kind of like decorative. You could have done this out of any color you wanted if you wanted to do it like more of a Halloweeny and do it orange or yellow or something that made it glow. You could do that too. This is the pattern paper that goes on the front. It's basically the outside part of your coffin. I'm just going to run around the edges a few times and then kind of swirl across the center. Have just a little bit of a border all the way around the edge. Okay, and then this black spider web is going to go up here in the corner. And I might pop dot that skull. I'm still deciding. So I'm going to glue this down first. I'll probably glue the skull or the crossbones and then pop the skull and the eye, like the back piece for the eyes. I'm gonna pop both. I say if you wanted a little more dimension, you could probably pop just the skull off and see how it gives that little shadow. I might do that actually. I'm gonna trim where I used a piece of paper that was kind of torn, and it didn't quite cut the whole file for his teeth, which doesn't matter. I mostly just need it for the eyes. So I just had to trim that rough spot off. So I'm going to glue these skull or the crossbones down to the front. And I'm kind of working up towards the top just because down here is where that belly band is going to be, and the little like sentiment, if you want to call it that, or the little saying. And then I'm going to pop dot these. So flip that over backwards, throw a few foam dots back there. Glue this part down. So I'm going to pop dot this first. There might be, I think I need to put one more down there on his little tooth, just because it's not quite gonna make contact down there, and it's gonna be used and held, so you want it to be pretty sturdy. Okay, so then that goes in the middle of the skull and crossbone, or the crossbones. Okay, so then your front, other than your belly band, and then deciding whether I want this on there. I do want that on there. It's just cute. I don't think I need to mount it on anything else. You could, if you choose to do something similar, you could mat it on a different piece of paper to kind of make it stand out, but I kind of like the darkness and the way it just kind of blends in. Okay, so there's the front of the box. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to work on this inside piece. Still debating on whether or not I'm using those. So I'm going to glue the pattern paper to the white mount paper. Make sure that's pattern side up. And there should be a little gap just for framing there. Something's going on. Okay, and then you should have one long one for down here and two on the sides. Don't glue those on until you've actually done your score lines, because it makes things kind of like the moisture from your glue makes your score lines not as crisp. So I always fold my score lines first before I put, I try to, before I put glue on things, just because that way your lines stay crisper and you don't mess yourself up. It just makes life a little easier. Okay, but then I am going to glue these papers on before I finish making that box, because it's easier to glue them on when it's flat than it is to try to press them once it's made into a box. And you should have a little bit of border on these as well. That one got a little crookedy. I'm going to slide it over. Okay. This last one. Glue the front to it, because you don't want to be squishing it once it's all kind of formed. This is the pocket that your popcorn actually slips into. So now we're going to glue this to make the box, and then we're going to set it aside so it's got a few seconds to kind of harden up. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that tab and this tab. Okay. Fold those in so that they're lined up with the bottom of that corner. And if you've got something long and skinny to stick in there, kind of hold those. Okay. You just give them a second to set. Shouldn't take too long depending on your glue. If you're using score tape, this is a great time to use it, just in little chunks even. I'm going to put some right there and right there, the glue, and I will be using score tape to finish this off and for the back of my box. And again, just hold until you kind of have things stuck where they need to be. If you've got clips or something, you can use them here. And then we're just going to set this aside while it finishes curing. Okay. So then we have the back of the box, and you're going to fold this piece up towards you, okay? And the way that these are going to go together is this flap and this flap are going to get glued together. That'll be the outside of the box. This will be the inside. So we put this white strip on the inside of this because it just gives it that finished, elegant look, like we were thinking about the details, which we do sometimes. Sometimes we get too distracted, or we get too excited about what we're making and we forget parts. Happens a lot. Okay. So then this one, if you wanted something like more decorative, or you've got some other details, you could put those towards the top of this. I'm just leaving mine blank with those little dancing skeletons. The only part that's really going to be visible once the popcorn is in here is going to be everything above this. So this is kind of the size of your popcorn. It tucks in there, and then your popcorn this. So if you wanted to put something up there, you could, and then this will go across the front like that. So this is basically just for decoration. Those pumpkins are pretty fun too. They would have been cool. I just feel like pumpkins get all the glory. So Coffin and skeletons are getting a little limelight for this one. And of course the candy. Always have to have the candy. Okay, so that is the main part of our gluing. There might be a little bit of gluing left for the belly band, just because you kind of have to adjust, and so score tape doesn't help you with that. So I've got this score tape. It's 1/4 inch by however long. And I'm just going to run 2 of these down this edge right here of my popcorn box, or the flap of it, basically. They kind of overlap, so I'm going to take this one off first and then put the second one on. And I'm only putting 2 on just because I want it right to the edges of that. It's kind of overkill, but it makes your box a little more sturdy. And that way it can be used for decor, or whoever, I mean, you can regift it if you're the recipient. Okay. And then you just line those 2 up right on that score line, straight as you can get them. If you're using the score tape or even adhesive, that's where you press. So now we have the open and closed popcorn thing. And I'm going to run the score tape again 2 times. I guess I could have used the thicker stuff. Let's see if I got the thicker one handy. I do. I'm going to use the fat stuff. Okay. And I only have to use 1 strip. And I can just pull it all off at the same time and not be sticking it to myself. And just inside that pocket edge. And I kind of want it towards the top of that, just because you don't want your popcorn packet getting caught on it when you're trying to slip it in there. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and kind of press it into my paper. So I've got a good seal there. And then you can take the backing off. Open the popcorn box. Whoa, almost stuck it where I didn't want it. Line it up kind of towards the bottom and the inside edge, but still be able to fold this open, or like fold it up like this. So I kind of hold that up and it gives me a guided edge, and then I'm just lining up with the bottom of my box, or the bottom of the card kind of, and then pressing. And if you've got something long and skinny, just kind of rub it down in there along those edges to get a good press. Okay. So that's the outside of it. Let's go ahead and do the belly band. And then we can put popcorn in it and be done. Oh, I guess we have this little bat still too. I think he was originally up in here. I might give him a little foam dot and stick him up there. Kind of flying over the bones a little. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to run some glue along the back of this. This is going to be stuck to the belly band, so you want it pretty covered. And then just smear that along your cardstock. You should have a little, like an equal border, top, bottom, sides. If it's not completely equal, it's not a big deal, because this is actually going to wrap around the box. So now hold it like it's got the popcorn in it, and kind of bend around the back on each side and get a general idea. You want it to be able to slip down and off without being so slippery that it just slides off when it's not being used, if that makes sense. Like if you're not touching it, you don't want it sliding down. You want to have to like kind of make it slide, but not so loose that it just does it on its own. Okay, so bend it around the back. And then kind of get a general idea of where you want it. And put your glue. Hold it for a second. And if you want to, you can like slip a piece of scratch paper. I don't have any handy. And there's foam dots everywhere. I emptied my garbage can, so there's no extra paper. I'll slip it underneath there so that it's not getting glue on the back of my thing, and kind of rub. Then you should be able to slip it out. Finish pressing it. decide what sentiment you want on the front. You can either use stickers or rub-ons or any of your die cuts. You can have your Cricut write it on there. Whatever you are happy with and you like the best. I am going to, actually, I kind of like this one. And I think it's going to fit perfect. I could just get rid of the white and put it on the black. That's how I'm going to do it. So it says, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Perfect. So then this gets glued to the belly band on the front, centered. Okay. So I'm just kind of eyeballing my left and my right and my top and my bottom. And straightening things out before my glue sets. Okay. So I left that white off and I left the words off. Obviously, customize it, make it your own. Use what you've got for supplies. Don't feel like you need to go searching for this paper brand unless, of course, you love it. Or you might already have it in your stash. I mean, it's old enough. If you've been scrapbooking for a while, you should have some in your stash too. Okay, so that's going to look like that. And there will be popcorn tucked down inside there. Your recipient will just pull that off. Open up, popcorn surprise. You could put a gift card in there. You've got plenty of room over here for a sentiment or something if you want to write something to them on the inside. Just put a piece of white paper in there. You can just cut a rectangle and write them a note. And that is day 3. So if you've missed a day, you can grab the quick all access bundle for all the 13 files that I'm going to be presenting over the next few days. Or if you want instant access because you want to be able to get them prepped before we get started on those days, grab it. And if you are watching this after the 13 days have passed, you can get these files and more in my huge Halloween bundle. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and leave a question or comment down below. Thanks.